I'm Elsie. I'm a franchise coordinator. I handle all of our social media and marketing. So we are currently creating a company called Costa Services Co. where you can have us in-house handle all of your social media and the marketing. So we will have two different charges and two different processes. So the first one will be just handling like your Facebook, like answering the comments and messages. And then the second one is handling everything. So all of your Google reviews, all of your Facebook ads, messages, comments, any other marketing you want to do. So like your EDPM, mail marketing, things like that.
The purpose of this company is basically to have a uniform message, because we're not doing a national brand fund at the moment. The only ad spend you have is the 2% required. That's not audited. We're only going to take a look at what your ad spend is if the store is underperforming. But what this does is gives us the opportunity to handle those things. And the reason there's two levels is at a very base level, customer reputation management is the most important part of this particular business, but it also can be the most time consuming. Up until I had a back office, I typically would have to respond to everybody, in between doing all my other work, whether it was while laying in bed at night or, sitting in the backyard watching my kid. And but replying to people, replying to reviews is such an important part of this, not only for the face value of it, but the SEO purposes, right? So the way that these websites work is they put a lot of value on anything that brings them back to the platform. So Google puts a very high value on replying to reviews because it sends a notification to the user and then they click on it, it brings them back to Google. That's what Google, needs is that data of the person coming back. And so we brought Alzi on and she's grasped this so quickly, originally solely to do corporate store social media, and it's parlayed into this new endeavor where she has the skills and the ability to handle it on a much wider array and understands the verbiage that we want to use when talking to customers, because it is almost an art trying to figure out what the right words are to say, because it's very easy to get flustered with rude people and get short and have tone. And sometimes, everybody knows this through text, the tone doesn't always pass on. So it is quite an art to be able to communicate with people in a respectful manner that conveys the message you're trying to convey. So Alzi is one of our associate franchise coordinators, and she'll be a part of your journey from training to getting open and setting up the Facebook page. Yelp, even though Yelp as a platform isn't as relevant anymore, Apple Maps still uses Yelp as a scrubbing software platform to put your address on Apple Maps. And so you do need a Yelp profile, making sure that everything is uniform, passing on our marketing manual, things like that. But in the terms of these two slides right here, this is a separate service that's not mandated. It's just something we want to offer for those who don't want to deal with that stuff themselves.
Is that company you say is being set up, or is it?
No, it's already set up. Yeah, and it's just a flat monthly charge for customer reputation management is $25 a month, and full service is going to be $50 a month plus whatever ad spend. So if you're going to do $500 in ad spend, that obviously needs to be passed on. If you're going to do whatever.
So this, and so that would basically get her handling all of our social media and the responses, compliance with it.
Correct.
Okay.
Sounds like a fun job.
Yeah, right.
Really good at it. She handles all of our corporate locations currently, so.
For those of us who have no social media presence whatsoever, yeah, okay, it's been invested.
What's the meanest thing someone has said to you so far?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
I feel like I saw someone say the F word, like just F you guys. Because here's the thing, when you do an ad, you're putting yourself in front of people who didn't ask for you to be there. And some of these people, their social media, they want it to be pure. They don't realize it's a business. And so you do get a bunch of people who sit behind a keyboard and
Keyboard warriors.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they talk tough because they know,
Hey, yeah, can't reach to a computer.
yeah, so people can be rude. I remember really early on having a conversation with Halsey, just reminding her it's not personal. They don't know you. They're not saying, they're not saying it to you. I mean, I've been doing this now for over 8 years, and it's still like when someone says something that's completely false and completely rude, it's still like, it'll bother me for,
Sure.
because it's just the human
Yeah.
aspect of it. You know, it's always interesting. I'm a big F1 fan, and I've watched Drive to Survive, obviously, and there was this one scene with Valtteri Bottas, who was a Finnish driver, and he was like reading comments. And this is a guy who makes $20 million a year, driving a car for a living, lives in Monaco, and he's like, this hurts my feelings. And I'm like, I get it. You're a human being. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter how much money you have. It's still mean. So
So I have a question. This, a contract, like you go into a contract like for a year or?
Month to month.
Month to
Month
month.
to month.
She's got you for life.
Okay.
all right. Any other questions?
Good idea. Cool.
Cool. So I'm gonna go through this real quick because I want to let Brian get back to work because he's on the clock. For those of you who do want to use a third-party resource, we do have a partnership with a full-service social media group. One of the things that I became known for, at least online to a degree, is social media marketing. If anyone's familiar with a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, I was featured in his book for bringing our industry into the 21st century in terms of marketing. And so when we got big enough that I wasn't capable, or not even capable, not that I just didn't want to do it anymore, I had to search for someone who had the same values and the same views of social media marketing as I did. And so I met a gentleman named Marco, who runs Blank Studios. He typically comes on and does this presentation. He's in Germany right now because one of his clients is Lidl, and he's not able to be on the presentation today. So long story short, thus far, none of our franchisees have chosen to go with an outside source for their social media. I mean, for their marketing, because they do everything from content strategy, blogging, ad spend, everything. They're a full service marketing company. Most of our franchisees have thus far chosen to mirror our strategy internally and just copy, our monthly ads, our monthly our weekly Facebook posts, our daily, content. And that seems to be working for them. I think that Kyle McCardle will probably eventually switch over to Costa Services Company because he doesn't, he has other businesses, and when you're in your first month of being open, you're in that honeymoon phase where you want to do everything, and then I'm sure it'll get old.